The last thing I remember was the sound of gravel tearing into my skin, and his voice, calm, cold, final. No one's going to find you. Let me ask you something. What would you do if the person you trusted with your life was the one who tried to end it? Because that's exactly what happened to me. My name is Amara Njoya. I'm 29 years old. 3 months ago, I was engaged to a man everyone admired, a man people called successful, charming, safe. His name was Daniel. And 3 months ago, Daniel left me for dead. Now here's where it gets worse. I didn't die. I disappeared. Completely. No calls, no hospital records, no police report, nothing. For 3 months, the world believed I was gone. Even him. And then one day, I came back home. Same house, same street, same people. But not the same woman. Because something happened out there, between the moment he walked away and the moment I opened my front door again. Something that changed how I think, how I feel, how I see people. You see, survival doesn't just leave scars on your body, it rewires your mind. And the truth is, when I came back, I didn't come back for closure. Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. I came back because I knew something Daniel didn't, something he never expected. People think betrayal is loud, explosive, obvious. It's not. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle. It looks like love, feels like safety, until one night it turns into something else entirely. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're already too deep, too trusting, too exposed, too late. But here's the part no one knows yet. That night, when Daniel thought he ended my story, he made one small, careless mistake. One small, careless mistake. And it's the only reason I'm still alive to tell you this. Looking back now, the truth feels obvious, but at the time, it felt like love. Tell me, have you ever ignored a red flag because you didn't want to lose someone? Yeah, that was me. When I met Daniel, 34, he was everything I thought I needed. Confident, put together, the kind of man who walked into a room and made people listen. He didn't just choose me, he pursued me. Flowers at work, late-night calls, plans for the future that sounded so real I could almost touch them. And for a while, it was perfect. But perfection has cracks. You just don't see them right away. It started small. He didn't like me asking too many questions about his business. At first, he'd laugh it off. "Babe, it's complicated. You wouldn't enjoy it." Then the tone changed. Short answers, irritation, silence. Phone calls he'd take in another room, messages he'd hide the second I walked in. And every time I noticed, I told myself the same thing. Don't overthink it. But I wasn't the only one who saw it. My best friend Lena, 31, noticed too. She pulled me aside one evening, her voice low but serious. "Amara, something about him isn't right." I laughed it off, defended him immediately, because that's what you do when you're in love, right? You protect the person, even from the truth, even from yourself. Then there was my father, Mr. Njoya, 60. He didn't say much, he never did, but the way he looked at Daniel, it wasn't approval, it was calculation. Still, I ignored that too, because Daniel wasn't just part of my life anymore, he was my future. Or at least that's what I believed. Then one day, out of nowhere, he suggested a weekend getaway. Remote, quiet, just us. Something about the way he said it felt off, not wrong enough to refuse, but not right enough to ignore. I remember standing there, forcing a smile, while a small voice in my head whispered, don't go. But I did, because love makes you brave in the wrong ways. And that night, as we stood alone in a place no one could hear us, Daniel looked at me, not like a man in love, but like a man who had already decided what he was about to do next. You ever feel danger before you can explain it? That tightness in your chest, that quiet voice saying something isn't right? I felt it that night. I just didn't listen. The place Daniel chose was isolated. No nearby houses, no passing cars, just silence, the kind that feels heavy. At first, he acted normal. Too normal. Dinner, small talk, even a smile or two. But it felt rehearsed, like he was playing a role and I didn't know the script. So I asked him. Simple question, calm voice. Daniel, what's really going on with you? And just like that, everything shifted. His face changed. Not anger at first, something colder, detached. Then he laughed, but there was no humor in it. You always ask too many questions, Amara. That's when my heart started racing. I pushed again. I needed answers. But instead of explaining, he stepped closer. Too close. And then he said something I will never forget. Before I could react, he shoved me, hard. I stumbled back, lost my footing, and everything happened too fast. The ground disappeared beneath me. Impact.
Pain exploded through my body. My head spun, my vision blurred. I tried to move, but I couldn't. And above me, I could hear him, walking closer, then stopping. Silence. I forced my eyes open just enough to see his silhouette, watching me, waiting. And then he turned around and walked away. Just like that. Like I was nothing. Like I was already gone. Do you understand what that does to a person? It's not just the pain. It's not even the fear. It's realizing the person you loved looked at you, broken on the ground, and chose to leave. I don't know how long I was out. Hours, maybe. But somehow, I woke up. Every breath hurt. Every movement felt impossible. But something inside me refused to stop. I dragged myself, inch by inch, through dirt, through pain, through darkness. Not because I was strong, but because I wasn't ready to die. And here's the part that changes everything. When I finally reached a place where I could get help, I didn't tell them who I was. I didn't go home. I didn't call anyone. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. If Daniel was willing to do that to me, then going back unprepared would be the biggest mistake of my life. For 3 months, I watched my own life like a ghost. No one knew I was alive. Not my friends, not my father, and definitely not Daniel. Let me ask you something. If you had one chance to take back control, would you rush it? Or would you wait and make sure you never lost again? I chose to wait. I ended up in a small clinic miles away, barely conscious, barely holding on. I gave them a different name, not because I wanted to disappear, but because I needed time. Time to heal, time to think, time to understand why the man I loved tried to erase me. The physical pain faded slowly. Bruises healed, cuts closed. But mentally, that's where the real transformation happened. I stopped thinking like a victim and started thinking like someone who had survived something deliberate. So I started asking questions, quietly, carefully. And what I found changed everything. Daniel's business? It wasn't clean, not even close. Money moving through accounts that didn't make sense, names that didn't match, transactions that disappeared. And then, something worse. I found patterns. Women. connected to him in small ways: former employees, short-term partners, associates, and then, suddenly, gone. No noise, no drama, just erased from his world. That's when it hit me. That night wasn't a mistake. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even personal. It was a decision. I was a liability, and he removed liabilities. So I adapted. I documented everything I found, saved copies, recorded timelines, built something solid. Then I reached out. Not as Amara, but anonymously. A lawyer first, then quietly, authorities. I didn't tell them I was alive. Not yet. Because I needed Daniel comfortable, confident, careless. And he was. Publicly, he told people I had left, that I couldn't handle the relationship. And the worst part? People believed him. He was moving on, rebuilding, smiling again, living freely, like I never existed. So, when I finally came back home, it wasn't for answers. It wasn't for closure. It was for something much bigger. Because this time, I wasn't the woman he tried to kill. I was the reason his whole world was about to fall apart. The moment I stepped back into my house, everything looked the same. Same walls, same furniture, same silence. But I wasn't the same. Not even close. And Daniel? He had no idea that his past was about to walk right up to him, alive. I didn't confront him right away. I waited, timed it perfectly. When I finally saw him, face to face, the look in his eyes said everything. Shock, fear, confusion. For a split second, he forgot how to breathe. Amara? He said my name like he'd seen a ghost. But I didn't raise my voice, didn't cry, didn't ask why, because I already knew. Within minutes, the police arrived, and that's when everything unraveled. The investigation I had quietly built over 3 months, it was enough. Financial fraud, illegal accounts, identity manipulation, and most importantly, evidence tying him to multiple planned disappearances. Mine was supposed to be one of them. The getaway wasn't spontaneous. It was calculated. He took me there because it was isolated, because no one would hear me, because he thought no one would ever find me. He didn't snap. He executed a plan. When they put the handcuffs on him, he looked at me, not with anger, but with disbelief, like he couldn't understand how I was standing there. And that's when I finally spoke. Calm, steady, certain. You didn't fail because I survived. I paused, letting it sink in. You failed because you underestimated me. And in that moment, everything I felt, fear, pain, betrayal, it didn't control me anymore. I wasn't broken. I was done. Daniel was charged. Attempted murder, financial crimes, multiple investigations reopened. His reputation collapsed overnight. The same people who praised him disappeared. Lena, she never left my sight again. She didn't say, "I told you so." She just held my hand tighter than before. My father, for the first time in years, he looked at me with something deeper than distance, regret, and pride. Life didn't go back to normal. It couldn't. But it became something else. Stronger, quieter, clearer. I changed the locks, rearranged the house, took back every space that once felt unsafe. And one night, I stood by the door, locked it, and didn't feel fear. Just control. Just peace. He thought he left me for dead,